What's up, Jared? I'm here today. We have the weekly setup review of AEW Dynamite. This show was pretty good. It wasn't the greatest show, but it was actually pretty dang good for the matches on the show. They started the show off with Jon Moxley defending the international championship against Big Bill. Ricky Starks comes out with him because Big Bill is kind of like his manager. They had a pretty good match. Moxley ended up winning. Then Ricky Starks tried attacking Moxley. Bryan Danielson and Claudio now coming out, beating up Ricky Starks and Big Bill, and Moxley beating him up. Moxley got pretty dang bloody in the match. Big Bill threw around Moxley like it was absolutely nothing during the match. But Mox ended up hitting the paradigm shift and getting the 1-2-3, picking up the victory. Good way to start off the show. And I really can't tell if the Blackpool Combat Club are baby faces are good guys. I think they just kind of do whatever they want because, like, Bryan Danielson obviously is a babyface. The crowd loves him. Mox was a babyface at least tonight because they were in his hometown in Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio. And Claudio, I don't think he's very liked in Wheeler, Utah, so I'm not sure. It's kind of like half of them are liked by the crowd and half of them are. It's weird. But besides that, I thought they started off the show pretty dang good. After that was Don Callis came out to the ring. Tony Schiavone hardly could get it out of his mouth introducing Don Callis. Don Callis and Takeshita come out to the ring. There's like a big painting covered up in the ring. And Don Callis is like, well, Takeshita is the alpha because he beat Kenny Omega twice in the times of 7 days. He is the alpha now, and Kenny Omega is now home. And he cannot wrestle, like he's injured or something like that, he was saying. And he's like, we're going after somebody that Kenny cares about and is better than Kenny. And then he reveals the painting is Kota Ibushi. He's like, we're going after Kota Ibushi. So Takeshita is gonna be fighting Kota Ibushi soon. And he's like, and Kenny Omega, you can't do anything about it because you're stuck at home. And Takeshita is gonna destroy him. So that'd be actually a really good match between those two. So that'll be pretty interesting. I have a feeling that when that match finally happens, Kenny Omega will show up, which is pretty obvious. After that, the late sex gods come out, Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara, and they start talking about how that Sammy and Jericho have been together, and how Jericho found Sammy originally. How he saw him at a show in 2018 and called Tony Khan like, we need to sign this guy. And they showed a video of Sammy Guevara and Jericho together all along through the 4 years of AEW. And then Sammy's like, Jericho, well, because they're fighting next week at the Grand Slam AEW Dynamite show in New York City. Sammy's like, I have to win this match. I have to beat you, Jericho, so I can eventually become a main eventer and everything. And Jericho's like, I agree with you and everything. You have to beat me, but I'm not going to go easy on you. And I don't think you're ready. And then they go back and forth. And Jericho's like, I'm going to beat you as hard as I can. I'm going to hit you as hard as I can. I'm not going to go easy. And you know, Sammy's like, I wouldn't want it any other way. They shook hands and they went face to face. Jericho got real close to him. And Sammy's like, well, once I beat you, we're going to shake hands. We're going to hug, raise hands. And then we're coming for those AEW tag titles. I think Sammy's going to win this. And then they're end up going after the tag titles, which would be awesome. After that was, in my opinion, a really good match. Was Hangman Adam Page versus Brian Cage. And I was not expecting this to be as good of a match, but they had a good match a couple years ago during like the COVID era of AEW. Swerve's like henchman like guy. That's what I always call him, a henchman guy, because he's kind of like a manager, doesn't do much. But he comes out with Brian Cage. Hangman comes out. They have a really good match going back and forth. Hangman flung Brian Cage in the ropes, and he did like the spinning like hand thing in the air, like Rey Mysterio, and did the 619. You hear Hangman yell at the camera, well, I've never done that before. It was really cool to see Hangman do like a little tribute to Rey Mysterio and hit the 619. They went back and forth, crazy stuff. Hangman was on the apron, and Brian Cage was on the top rope, grabbed him, launched him into the ring with a German suplex. Absolutely insane. Hangman ended up hitting the buckshot lariat and hitting the 1, 2, 3, beating Hangman and beating Brian Cage. But during that match, Swerve came out distracted. Hangman was still able to win. Then Hangman got on the mic, he's like, Swerve, well, I thought you had some balls calling me out last week and everything, but obviously you don't because you just stood there on that ramp the whole entire time during the match. And Swerve's like getting all mad and everything. I was like, well, Hangman, you think you're all that? Well, what do you think of that about that, Brian Cage? And Brian Cage is behind Hangman. Hangman turns around and gets absolutely destroyed by Brian Cage. And Swerve's manager gets in the ring, starts beating on Hangman. And then out of nowhere, a double super kick to Brian Cage by the Young Bucks. And then a double super kick to Swerve's henchman guy. And then the Bucks and Hangman stand tall in the ring. And then I think they announced it's going to be Swerve versus Hangman in 2 weeks on a Dynamite, which will be pretty dang good. Next up, there's a women's match. There's a fatal four-way. Whoever wins fights Saraya, as Paige next week at the Grand Slam. Toni Storm ended up winning. I honestly thought Britt Baker was winning, but Toni Storm won. So it'll be the two, the former Outcast member, Toni Storm, because they've kind of kicked her out against Saraya. But that was pretty boring. The next match was a tag match. Nick Wing and Darby Allin versus Daddy Magic, and I always forget the other guy's name, but that tag team, Darby and Nick Wing ended up winning, putting on a pretty dang good match, going back and forth and everything. Nick Wing still think he was pretty much given everything because he's just friends with Darby. There's so many wrestlers that work way harder than him in the indies that probably should get more TV time than him, but that's just my personal opinion. But they put on a pretty good match. Darby ended up picking up the victory for them, hitting the coffin drop, and then Christian was on commentary with Luchasaurus. Christian ended up saying, well, I've been hearing all this stuff about how, Darby and Sting beat Swerve and Christian. He's like, well, I wasn't even the one pinned. I didn't have my normal tag team partner. He said, that I'm used to tagging with. He says, well, I think it was next week or the week after that, there was just another big Dynamite show. He's like, can't remember which one. Yeah, it was next week at the Grand Slam. He's like, it's gonna be me and my boy Luchasaurus versus Darby Allin and I think Sting. But he didn't say that Luchasaurus was his normal tag team partner. Now, if you've been paying attention to the internet and social media, Edge has no longer. He's been taken off the WWE roster and everything. He hasn't re-signed his contract. He has no contract with WWE. People inside WWE, like wrestlers and stuff, but they don't know who it is. There's been several, at least 10 different posts that people think Edge is AEW bound, he's going to AEW. There's people in WWE have said there's no way he's re-signing with WWE. So because people think he wants to finish his career with the person he started with was Christian. So when he said my normal tag team partner I'm used to tagging with, I think Christian may lose or win or something. And I think Edge is going to show up next week at the Grand Slam. He might not show up next week, but I definitely do think he's eventually going to show up in AEW because of all this stuff, how he's no longer resigning his contract. Even people in WWE think he's going to AEW. So obviously he's eventually going to show up. But when he's going to show up, who knows? But I think maybe next week. But also I did say All In, but I was wrong. But when he said my tag team partner that I'm used to tagging with, I was like, wait a second. He hasn't really tagged with Luchasaurus, but the person he's tagged with a lot is Edge. So it'd be interesting. But the main event was whoever wins will face MJF at Grand Slam AEW for the AEW World Title. It was the finals match. It was Samoa Joe versus Roderick Strong. Samoa Joe absolutely squashed Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong with that neck brace took it off. Roderick Strong got a couple moves and Samoa Joe pretty much just destroyed him and then ended up putting him in the headlock, and instantly Roderick Strong started tapping out because his broken neck. Then Adam Cole starts walking to the ring, and Roderick Strong was fine, and then he sees Adam Cole and drops to the ground, acting like he's dying. They put him on a stretcher and he's yelling at Adam Cole Adam, and Adam Cole's I'm here, and then the people that Roderick Strong's with tell Adam, leave us alone. And then Adam Cole's on the stage, and I don't know where Samoa Joe grabs Adam Cole, puts him in the headlock, puts him to sleep, and screams in the camera to MJF, who's like, I'm going to take everything from you. So, obviously, he just took out Adam Cole. He's going to try to take the AEW title. I honestly could see Samoa Joe this match not ending normally, like, and builds on until like Full Gear maybe, because I can see Samoa Joe be the person that dethrones MJF for the AEW title, because he's such a big, dominant dude. It'd be awesome to see him become AEW World Champion. I thought this show was actually pretty good. I give it a solid 4 out of 5. Definitely excited about the Samoa Joe stuff and potential Edge, all this stuff. The Jericho Sammy Guevara, super excited about too. This is JW. Make sure to like, subscribe, stay tuned for more wrestling figure content. I'll see you guys in the next one.